The meet officially I posted on USPA's website, and my official total was a 1570 and some change. So the fourth attempt squat didn't count towards my meet total, but that's neither here nor there because it did count towards the record. I had the best meet of my entire life. I'll be 48 in a couple of months, and I've lifted more than I ever have in my life. I should be really happy, and I am. I am ecstatic. Like it was an awesome time. I had just such an awesome time, and it was a wild ride getting to this point. I had such highs and such lows. I mean, I had crippling injuries, and I had to deal with a ton of adversity. I mean, everything seemed to be fighting me to get to this point. And now that it's over, I don't know what I want to do. A buddy of mine approached me after the meet, and I got contacted by Iron Rebel. I guess the singlet I was wearing, that lime green singlet, they haven't. The gentleman that represents Iron Rebel told me that they haven't made that thing in almost 10 years, and he was shocked to see me not only wearing it, but to see how good a condition it was in. And I'm like, well, it's not like I freaking wear it every day. I mean, how beat up does a singlet get? It's not like you're wearing it to work. But no, the singlet looks still brand new, and even though it's all getting close to 10 years old, and he wanted me to do a photo shoot with that singlet on, and I thought that was really cool. And then another friend, an associate of mine, works for a company that makes, I don't know how to describe this. They make an exoskeleton for commercial construction. So it's equipment that helps people to do manual labor and lifting, things of that nature. And they want to sponsor an athlete. And they approached me about the potential of them paying for me to compete at Worlds in November. And I can't turn that down. I mean, if they're going to pay for the meet and possibly, the travel, I would absolutely take them up on that offer. But that does leave a bit of an issue because that's in November, and there's just absolutely no way I could keep this pace up and keep training without taking some kind of a break. And that's always the tricky part, because if you don't do it right, if your plan is to keep competing and you take time off, it's a lot of work to get back to that 1% of what you're able to do. It's brutal. I don't want to go in the hole, and I don't want to lose all my strength and then have to fight to get it back. I mean, your body's already made the adaptation. You've already put the muscle on, so you have that. As any of you guys know, if you stop lifting for any considerable amount of time, you put the weights down, and you take months off. When you go back into the gym and you hit the weights, it takes a couple of weeks, but you get that strength back pretty quickly. Well, as we get older, that gets harder every single time. And, let's face it, it's just, I have some injuries that I'm dealing with. I got some really bad tendonitis in my elbows. My knees seem to be like my knees seem to be doing fairly well, but I'm in constant pain. My hip is always bothering me. My hip's going to bother me whether I train or I don't train. So what my doctor told me is, he said, it's just something you're just going to have to live with. He said, unless we go in there and do a bunch of invasive surgery, and who knows how far that could set you back, you're just going to have to suck it up and deal with the pain. But I have no correlation between training and not training as far as pain. It's there whether I work out or not. So I'm just going to have to suck it up, and I'm not going to let something like that stop me. And no good outcome can come from stopping training. You stop training, you're toast. You're done. But what are we talking about here? Are we talking about training for powerlifting, or are we talking about just exercising in general and staying in physical shape? Maybe doing a little bodybuilding. There's a big difference between doing, high rep sets of moderate weight for a decent physique and mobility, and training to mix maximal loads. We all know that just beats you up. I know there's people that say that you can do it safely for years and years and years. And the fact that I'm going to be 48 this year and I'm still lifting as heavy as I've ever lifted in my life is kind of a testament to that. You can train for a long time, but the injuries are accumulating. there's cracks in the foundation. I am getting older. I don't consider myself old, but I am certainly not young. I mean, think about it. If I was an NFL player, I would have been retired 7 or 8 years ago, and that would have still been an old retirement. So I'm sports old, if that makes sense. The beauty about lifting is it's something that you can do for a very long time. When I was, the last couple of competitions I attended, there was lifters that were well past their 80s still competing. So it's something you can do for a long time. But the question is how much can you push it? How close to that, fighting form can you get? Is it a sport you can keep participating in and compete for fun? Or can you compete at the top levels? Can you be at your highest level as you get into your 50s, 60s, 70s? Is that possible? And I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. These guys all seem like they're competing at a very high level, but I don't know where they're at relative strength to what they're able to do if they were to push themselves as hard as we're pushing ourselves at our younger age. So, I don't know. I guess that remains to be seen. I don't know what I want to do. I did sign up to be a referee. I have to take a test, and then there's a 90-day training period where you have to do competitions, and you're basically an apprentice. And I'd like to become a state referee for Nevada, which means I'd start judging competitions. And I also want to form a team. And I thought it would be cool to start coaching. And maybe that will translate into me taking a step back from competing. I don't know, because a lot of coaches still compete. And I have half the people in my life telling me that I need to hang it up and, let the younger generations, to pay it forward, to start giving what I've learned and what I know to newer lifters and let them have, their time on the platform. And that's the way of things. The older guys teach and they pass on what they've learned. And then I have another, percentage of people in my life that are telling me, you can't quit now. You've got to go for it. You're the best you've ever been. And I can't seem to come up with an answer. I've been doing a lot of soul searching, and I really genuinely seem to be torn. I just don't know what I want to do. I know what I want to do. Perfect world, I want to keep training and I want to keep competing. But I just don't know how realistic that is. I don't know if it's the smartest thing for me to do. I don't know if it's going to be a good outcome, or if it's going to wind up with me eventually suffering a crippling injury, and then I'm going to be one of those older guys that talks about how I used to bench 400 pounds and now I can't lift anymore. I don't want to be that guy. And we're all an injury away from that. It's just, it's a risk with any sport. It's a risk with any endeavor you take. Heck, it's a risk walking down the street. That's kind of the philosophy I've always taken, is like, I'm not going to plan my life around the worst possible outcome. I'm not going to plan for disaster. But, I did suffer a really crippling injury, and it was one of the worst things I've ever had to go through. And it's always been in the back of my head this last few months, is that could happen at any moment. Do I really want to go through that again? And I think it's one of those things where it's like you're going to take the precautions that you need to take, and you're going to try to do the things you need to do to prevent that from happening. But at the end of the day, it's just a risky sport. It's just something that could happen at any time to any person for any reason. And, I don't know. Is that a risk I'm willing to take at this age? I got a lot of soul searching to do, and I don't know what I want to do yet.